So, spawning here in the lower right location. I'm starting to try to do announce before switching my scene. Won't make that mistake again and forget switching my scene. Anyway, now having that switched, we'll head back into the replay. Last week in my original cast my last cast, which was actually yesterday rather than last week, I kind of forgot to switch one of the games. It was set 3. Anyway. So apparently they had a little bit of lag problems during the startup of this match, but so spawning in the lower right, we have as our orange Protoss AppleJack, claiming that he is indeed experiencing lag, but it is playable. And spawning in the upper left, as our red Protoss, we have ShadoeWolf playing for Outset. Now this is a Gold League match for the Chobo Team League. For those of you unfamiliar, the Chobo Team League is a league for players anywhere between the levels of Bronze and Diamond to improve their play in a great team environment. It's set up somewhat similar to SC2 Pro League, except for the fact that there are league limitations on any of the games. So there's a game for Bronze and Silver players, another game aimed for Silver players, another one for Gold, and so on upwards and upwards, or it's through Diamond. All of the matches are best of 1s except for the Ace match, which is a best of 3 between 2 Diamond League players. So far, Vortex is in the lead 3-2 as we head into this, our 6th set of the day. Well, our 6th set of the weekly matches. These matches actually may have happened in any order, but we're going through them in our actual Chobo Team League match order. So we see a gateway first for AppleJack up here, well, for ShadoeWolf, so which base I'm in. In fact, although we actually see a gateway first for both players, but AppleJack having taken 2 gases, whereas ShadoeWolf only having taken 1 so far, is the only real difference. Both players getting down that cyber core at very similar timing. ShadoeWolf's a little bit faster, but not enough faster to matter for anything. However, ShadoeWolf has taken all of his workers off of gas, so we might actually see either some nearly Nexus first sort of play or early aggression. I'm wondering if he's doing that for economic reasons or if we're going to see early aggression. Anyway, the cyber core is now finished up, and he has put workers back into gas. AppleJack actually starting his warp gate sooner. No warp gate tech on the way yet for ShadoeWolf, as we see a stalker coming down and a earlier Nexus. So, as one of the things I suspected, he had pulled his drones off of gas to try to get an earlier Nexus. So he's going for a very, very greedy and economic sort of play, but on Altazine we can usually get away with that because, if you did not know, this is the ramp into both your original base and your natural base ramp is actually from within your base and has no other ground means of entry. AppleJack's scouting probe being taken out by this stalker here, or ShadoeWolf. But that means that AppleJack does know for sure where ShadoeWolf is, and chooses to bring the stalker back to a place where it's actually going to be effective. But ShadoeWolf has a probe going in just the right place, and he looks like he's going to get taken out by a stalker, but he's actually going to get a much better scout off. He at least sees that there is a cyber core and 1 gas, I believe. Let's check his vision to see what he got to see with that. Yeah, he saw exactly what I thought he did. He had 1 gas in the cyber core. Anyway, a few stalkers moving across the map for AppleJack, trying to get a little bit of map control, which is probably a very good idea, as he's getting his units and warp gate out a lot faster than ShadoeWolf, so some early aggression is probably in order here, as we don't even see a second next, although he's probably about to put one down right now with that probe going into position, probably as soon as he gets the minerals. ShadoeWolf is a robo already on the way, though. AppleJack's warp gate tech just finishing, and ShadoeWolf, in fact, just starting warp gate now. A little bit later on the warp gate time. Not sure if that was intentional or just a mistake. Now, that force field was very nice there for ShadoeWolf, getting a Stalker for pretty much free due to that force field. But we see more coming across the map for AppleJack. A few more Stalkers on the way. Still no forward pylon, though, for Warpins, which is interesting. He does have an Oracle on the way that's just about finished from a Stargate, so we have AppleJack going Stargate versus ShadoeWolf's Robo. Stargate, usually a very good choice here on Altazine with the extremely long distances involved, especially when you cross-spawn, as our players have. It is interesting that we don't see a probe out yet to try to make a proxy pylon for AppleJack, though. I would suspect that we would see that. We have a few more gateways on the way for ShadoeWolf. Whereas AppleJack is mostly concerned with getting his Nexus down at this point. In the meantime, though, he is sending across his Oracle, which might be pretty effective considering we don't see any real defenses other than a Stalker or two around for ShadoeWolf. This Oracle does head into the base for AppleJack, getting one probe kill. The probes are immediately pulled, but Oracles are fast. They can always chase down probes. Goes up to 3 probe kills before the Photon Overcharge goes off, chasing back that Oracle for now, but the Oracle, having taken pretty much just shield damage, will be right back in for another poke as soon as it recharges. After having gotten 3 kills. Pretty good start for that Oracle, but I suspect we'll see ShadoeWolf actually taking some defenses. Now that you see it. Still no probes at the natural, though. Hasn't moved him back, but that actually isn't that bad of a decision, as that allows his main to be pretty much just perfectly saturated. Hoping put down a pylon to try to get up some defenses, but that one probe being taken out by that Oracle, it sees it come down. In the meantime, there's a little bit of a skirmish going on here. Got these first Immortals as well as a Stalker, some Zealots, and a Sentry coming out to push back this little tiny squad of Stalkers that AppleJack had. This Oracle kind of being misrallied, flying over the army of ShadoeWolf. It loses its shields, but only its shields so far. An Observer for ShadoeWolf coming down, as well as a probe to make that all-important proxy pylon. In the meantime, that first Oracle and the second Oracle go into the base of ShadoeWolf as he tries to drone up to second base. Get a few more probe kills for their trouble, and there's almost nothing to defend against these Oracles. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing here to defend against these Oracles for AppleJack, as ShadoeWolf continues to just send forward his attack. But he is going to meet a Void Ray as well as a number of Stalkers and Sentries, and that Void Ray is going to be worth its weight in gold against these Immortals. In the meantime, we get more and more probe kills coming down from these Oracles. There's one Oracle actually almost dying to a cannon that finishes under it, but a number of probe kills those for these Oracles. Let's see what they got. 10 kills for that one and 10 kills for that one. So we got 20 worker kills in those Oracles. In the meantime, we got this engagement starting to go down here, but once he sees what AppleJack has and that AppleJack simply has a better composition, he is going to mass recall home with almost all that force getting out. But having lost as many probes as he had, ShadoeWolf is significantly behind right now. He's literally down 20 probes. And 20 probes in a, even match game, that's a lot. He's also down 20 army supply at this point, so AppleJack in an absolutely commanding lead. And he's going to head out with his absolutely commanding lead now. ShadoeWolf does know he's heading out. He's got these observers here seeing exactly what's happening, but I don't know much what he can do about it. He does have this probe out here to make another proxy pylon, having lost his current proxy, but other than and maybe a small Warpin and Zealots for a counterattack, I really don't know what ShadoeWolf can do. And in the meantime, these Oracles coming in, taking out almost all the rest of the probes. Again, down to 12 probes. Now AppleJack with a 28 worker lead, and nothing but this cannon here to destroy Oracles, and the cannon is not extremely well placed. If the cannon was out here, it could cover most of the mineral line, but the cannon way over here, it doesn't cover that much other than this gas and just these 4 mineral patches. So those Oracles are really doing work, man. Those Oracles still out Yeah, 12 and 15 kills, 27 workers having been taken down by those oracles. So, wow, those oracles, man. Oracle's good unit. So we have another Warp and a Zealots to join in with the rest of this force for AppleJack coming in to do the finishing blow. Even those Oracles joining up with the army taking out some of these Zealots. Oracles are really good against Zealots with that bonus damage against light. Photon Overcharge going off and AppleJack dropping back for the moment. But I really don't see how ShadoeWolf is going to have any chance at holding this. I mean, Immortals are pretty good, but Void Rays are the counter to Immortals, and there's nothing to counter the Void Rays. ShadoeWolf agrees. GG. That's it. AppleJack having taken that game, giving Vortex a 4-2 lead.